On today's whiskey review, Widow Jane 10-year. Let's go. What's up, everybody? My name is Justin, and welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Tiers, where we taste and review on a tier system whiskey, bourbon, scotch, etc. as we go along in the channel. And today, in this video, we are doing Widow Jane 10-year. All right, so if you did not see, one of the interesting things that is happening with this video is that we're kind of filming it back to back with last week's video, in which we did the tin cup 10-year version, which came in at 84 proof. So today, I'm filming these immediately back to back. So it's gonna be kind of interesting that I'm gonna be able to compare two 10-year bourbons that have also been cut with specialized water. The tin cup was cut with the Rocky Mountain water, and we're gonna get into the Widow Jane today. So I would suggest, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch last week's video, the tin cup version, before you watch this one, and then come back and check out some Widow Jane. All right, so Widow Jane 10-year version in New American Oak barrels. It is cut with pure limestone mineral water from the legendary Rosedale Mines of New York. It is a blend of straight bourbons. I have batch 485, bottle 962, and this was bottled in 2021. It's coming in at 45.5%, which is 91 proof, so a little bit higher than the tin cup was. If we check out the back, it says, reviving the lost art of marrying the finest whiskeys, Widow Jane 10-year-old is our signature bourbon, hand-assembled in Brooklyn using the richest and rarest straight bourbons, only ever in 5-barrel batches, non-chill filtered and proofed with our own mineral water from the legendary Rosedale Mines of New York. We deliver a whiskey unique in its intensity and complexity. And on the back here it says it has been distilled in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana. So there's some MGP in here. There could be a number of other things in here, but they're all at least 10 years old. So overall, the bottle, I actually really like this bottle. This shape of bottle, for some reason, it just makes me think of like a little handheld bomb that you can just kind of chuck. And I really like the very clean, simple label on this one. It really stands out on the shelf amongst all the other kind of more intricate labels. It's just straight black lettering, straight white label, handwritten batch and bottle number. I think it looks pretty cool. Overall, I really like the bottle. Hopefully, the whiskey tastes as good. Ooh, kind of a weak bottle pop on that one. Come on, Widow Jane, step it up. All right, pour a little drinksy here. I'm not great at finishing the pours. I don't know what's wrong with me. Not one of my fortes. All right, swirl it around, see what we got. All right, one thing I noticed on this one is it is immediately a little bit darker than the tin cup was. The tin cup was a very watered down, kind of yellowish one. This one has more of the classic bourbon colors of the amber, the orange, and the reds in there, maybe leaning a little bit more towards the orange with just a hint of yellow. All right, let's smell it, see what we're getting. Okay, immediately, right off the bat, after having just done the tin cup, completely different nose. Completely different, not even close to the same. I'm getting a mustiness, a very oakiness, like a refined wood, like a wood that's been laying on the forest floor for a while. It's a little bit damp, it's got some moss growing on it. There's a little bit of a chocolatey nose in there. There's almost like a chocolate covered fruit. What is the fruit though? And it's like a milk chocolate, it's not a dark chocolate. There's like a chocolate covered fruit sitting on top of that old mossy wood oak. I think it might be a chocolate covered strawberry, if I had to pick one. It's some kind of fruit. I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but a chocolate covered sweet fruit sitting on top of an old oak mossy log that's kind of damp and been sitting on the floor of the forest for a while. Kind of what I'm getting out of this nose. I actually really like the nose. It's complex. It makes me think a little bit more than I normally do when you just get the standard kind of bourbon nose out of it. It makes me think a bit. I like it. Okay, we've smelled it. We've looked at it. Let's go ahead and try it. Cheers, everybody. Widow Jane 10-year in the throat. Okay, palate a lot different than the Tin Cup 10-year as well. Still not high proof at all. It doesn't burn going down the throat at all, just like the Tin Cup one did not. You know, it's only 91 proof, so still much lower proof than a lot of the things that I normally drink. So, you know, maybe for someone who's your average drinker, you would feel it, but for me, nothing. All right, so there's definitely a lot of oakiness, a lot of woodiness that I'm getting out of this one. This one tastes like it's older, unlike the 10-year. This one tastes like it's been sitting in a barrel for a while, but it's not a real bitter oak. It's a kind of a nice, smooth oak. There's a little bit of an aftertaste on the end that gets just a tiny bit bitter of that oakiness, but that oakiness is the predominant flavor that I'm getting so far out of this Widow. Got a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of caramel in there, kind of draped over that oakiness. Just a hint of peppery spice on the back end. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm liking it. I like that real, it just feels older when you drink it as compared to the Tin Cup 10-year. This feels like it's been in a barrel for 10 years. Just the smell, the taste, the way it kind of just rolls over your tongue a little bit. Yeah, you get like just a hint as well of like a clementine orange in there. So you've got the oakiness, you've got a little bit of a hint of the clementine orange, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of caramel, a little bit of just a hint of spice on the back end, but it goes down the throat nicely. It gets just a little bit bitter on the end, just a tiny bit bitter on the end before it goes away. That bitterness doesn't last too long. It kind of is there right at the end before it dissipates. So, you know, for me, it's not too bad at all, and actually tastes pretty good. You know, the more I have it, the more I get some of that oranginess out of it. Definitely getting more orange now that I've gotten some of those initial sips out. Maybe a little bit of the neck pour out of there. But yeah, oaky, orangey, just a hint of vanilla, hint of caramel, just a hint of pepper on the end, and then it hits that twinge of bitter, and then it fades out. So yeah, pretty good in my opinion. I'm liking this one. Let's try it with just a dash of water. Okay, the dash of water kind of gets rid of that predominant oaky smell off the bat. It doesn't get rid of it, but it beats it down a little bit. And it kind of gives it a, yeah, I think it is an orangey. Now that I'm getting into it, I think it is more of an orangey note on the nose. Kind of a chocolate covered orangey note. So it kind of, with the water, just kind of removes that that mossy oakness a little bit, and it accentuates the chocolate covered orange. Let's try it. Okay, with that dash of water, it definitely gets rid of some of that oakiness. You get more vanilla, you get the oranginess, and then you kind of get into that hint of bitter, and there's not really any spice on the end when you add the water. You still have the oakiness there, it's just not nearly as much as drinking it needs. So one last way, let's try it on the rocks. All right, I apologize, I actually didn't realize it, but that was my last ice ball that I used in the previous video, so we're going with some ice chunks. So that's gonna maybe affect it a little bit, but we're gonna try it on the rocks anyway. Okay, definitely more sweet than the initial neat nose. Yeah, much different than the initial neat nose when you put some water in when you put it on the rocks. On the rocks, especially with the broken up, really dumbs it down, really mellows it out. I got pretty much just a hint of vanilla out of the taste, and that was about it. I didn't get really any of the other flavors there on the rocks. Maybe it's because I'm not using the ice ball, maybe it's because I'm using the chopped up ice, but nonetheless, especially nosing it, the difference between the on the ice and with the water added compared to the neat is night and day. You get so much more of that sweet. There's like a sweet, yeah, that chocolate covered orange sitting over top of the mossy oak wet wood on the forest floor. An amazing nose on this one. So, Widow Jane 10-year. First of all, which one is better? Now that we've done both videos, which one would I prefer between the Tin Cup 10 year and the Widow Jane 10 year. Well, for me, it's a pretty clear winner, and it's the Widow Jane 10 year. For me, this one is much better than the Tin Cup. The Tin Cup, though, was a cheaper bottle. This one I got for $55. This Widow Jane I got for about $85, which I think was a little bit high. You can probably find this for cheaper depending on where you live. But from where I live, to find stuff like this, there's this one store and they're probably 10% higher than pretty much anywhere else, but they have stuff that you can't find other places around me. So for me, the clear winner over the two is the Widow Jane 10 year. And for me, on the tier list, I think this is going to go on the A tier. I think it's going to go very bottom of the A tier, but on the A tier. I really love the nose. I really love that you can kind of taste that it's an older bourbon in here, an older mix of bourbons from 3 different states, but you can really taste that coming out of this bottle. And it's not that kind of real bitteriness that you get out of some that are just been sitting in a barrel too long. You get, just like I said, that hint of bitteriness on the end, but overall it's pretty nice. You get that oranginess, you get that mossiness, you get that oakiness, but it's real smooth and it's not bitter at all on the main flavor, and just that pinch of bitter on the end. So for me, this is going on the A tier at the bottom. I'm pretty impressed with the Widow Jane 10 year. I was skeptical on this one because I've seen kind of mixed reviews around on this one. I didn't really know what to expect, but for me, this one takes the cake over the Tin Cup 10 year. It is more expensive though, but I think it is a better bourbon whiskey. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Check out all the links if you want to vote on what the next bourbons I'm going to do here on the channel is. Go over to Patreon, check that out. I appreciate it. I'll see you later.